Let's get into it. What do we need to know about today? What's going on? Stop playing, you're ready. What are you ready for? Let's find out. You had a bully in reverse. There's no one standing in your way right now for what you want to do. It's a good thing. You dropped the ball. Okay, these cards are being a little, I want to say, confrontational today. It's not a bad thing. This Mars in retrograde has a lot of confrontational energies in the room, I think, and confrontation is what makes the world go round sometimes. Excuse me. You dropped the ball with stop playing, you're ready. It doesn't feel overly correctional. It's more so just like, okay, we're done playing around now. We're done playing around now with you moving forward in progressing in the ways that you want to. There's no one standing in your way right now. This is a really good time for you to open up to the possibilities of how you need to be spending your time, how you want to be spending your time. It kind of feels like there's an obstacle. I can sense that you're feeling an obstacle that is not there. I'm not trying to talk you out of what you're feeling, but I am trying to let you know that it's almost like the obstacle is projecting. Hold on. There may be an oppositional type of energy near you that is projecting an obstacle that does not exist onto your situation. Does that make sense? 6 in reverse. The editing was the skill all along in reverse. Editing can mean so many things in so many different industries, obviously. You know, if you have an association with the word editing, feel into how that applies in your personal life. I'm hearing in your relationships. I think that you edit throughout your relationships what is meant to happen, and it's not in a way of being controlling or anything. It's more so driving the ship that no one else wants to drive. You know how to drive it. Let it die. For a moment, I think you believed that you were not the one driving the ship, that you are not the one who is supposed to take the steering wheel, that you are not the one who is meant to be in charge, and this couldn't be further from the truth, according to these cards and what is coming in. You're at that, I wanted to say head honcho and also the leader of the pack, and then I also wanted to say the head of the pack, but we all know the leader of a wolf pack hangs last, right? So you're currently in a social or, spiritual or energetic structure of other people, entities, or what have you, beings, presences, and you've been seeing your place in the back as last place when you've actually been leading the whole time. I think that's how it happens for some people. I keep thinking of wolves, and maybe some wolves. I think that they don't know sometimes that they are the leader until they've just been at the back of the line for so long. It's kind of like when someone passes the buck of responsibility off too many times, and then the person that they've passed it to suddenly is doing their job, and it's an accidental supplanting switcheroo. And I'm not necessarily saying that's what's happening. It's just an example. It's just an example. There's some area in which you dropped the ball, but we're gonna find that out because everything else is looking like, well, this card, the editing was the skill all along in reverse. It's kind of like you were in whatever situation you think of when I describe these happenings. you thought that streamlining the process in that situation was the most important thing that you could have been doing. Editing is kind of like the art of subtraction, which yes, editing is the art of subtracting. You are subtraction because you are subtracting things from the end product that would not be there if you hadn't edited them out. So it's a very active way of interacting with your future, with your destiny, and with your path. You thought editing was the most important part. I'm sorry, I'm tripping all over my words, but I'll get to the channel. I think we're just walking a path together. It's like a pebbly, gravelly dirt road, and it's just kind of choppy, so bear with me. Well, since we're on a gravelly and uneven path, it kind of feels like you were really craving pavement. You were really craving a smooth surface, a fresh start, a clean slate. It's not that that doesn't exist, it's that it's not actually what you were aiming for, even though you thought that's what you were aiming for. And I think that's why Let It Die is here. It's ringing of perfectionism, and plenty of us can understand perfectionism as a quite addictive state of being. I'm gonna pull runes because I forgot. I don't know. There's no order to this chaos. It is just chaos. Sorry. This 4 is staring at me very much, so dice out, and this one here. I think it might focus better if it's back here. Let's find out what this is. Ah! The garbage man, or woman, or non-binary person is outside, so maybe that's like, I don't know, trash is being taken out. Sounds good to me. Goodbye, trash. Alright, let's find out what this rune means. Rido, number 5. Going from 4 to 5, so that's progression, naturally. Alright. Ride. Enthusiasm, undertaking, movement, travel, removal, help, cooperation, regression and separation for those who blame errors and decision on others. You had a bully in reverse, I think is what that is really ringing to. Don't worry about them. Whoever I'm bringing up, whoever we're talking about, yes, it can be helpful to identify who is doing what, because some of us are natural investigators. I think, and there's no stopping that, right? If you have that kind of mind and that brain that wants to chew up this gathering of data to a larger result, to really find out what's what, it's crazy addicting. And I just mean, it's constant puzzle solving. You like puzzles? Here's a big piece of the puzzle. There's no one in your way. There's no one mad at you. That's kind of a general statement, but that needed to be said. There's nobody mad at you. No one's mad at you. And there's no one standing in your way for what you want to do right now. No one. Your psyche really has been doing the puzzle for so long that being given that piece might feel uncomfortable. Let's go into the tarot for some relief. That's why we do this, right? Tarot cards bring relief. They bring understanding. There is a way to puzzle solve and then kind of feel like you've solved it. I think sometimes inquisitive and investigative minds can overchew situations instead of just finding the answer they're looking for, and that's, I feel like there's a formula to this that leads to answers. You're not, yeah, being in last place, being the leader, this is the confusion that you need to reconcile. No one's standing in your way because you're leading. You're in control. I'm sorry. I know I was just speaking on recovering from perfectionism, but you've actually just done an incredibly good job to where people trust you. One more. Did I do two more? I don't know. Tarot. I'm sorry my hands are chewed up. It's really cold here and my hands just disintegrate. When it's cold, apparently. Death. Your curiosity about and affinity for divination and basically puzzle solving in all of its forms, whether you do tarot yourself or you've been favoring watching or getting readings, it's interesting that it's over in this area. I think it's telling you you've seen enough readings to move forward now. If that's going to be super, like a super simple, straightforward response to where that landed, the Hermit. I think it's time to look within yourself for answers. And I'm not saying just stop watching them altogether, or, you know, there's something wrong with continuing to try to solve the puzzle that's already solved. But this is a spot of advice, I suppose, from my cards to you. I think you're searching for answers about either a counterpart or someone that you're hoping to come towards you, or a business partner, just some sort of other, whether this is subconscious or otherwise, is kind of irrelevant. Whether you know it or not, you have what you need to fulfill the balance, to bring all of you forward into your life and into your reality. You have everything you need to face your reality full on. And that is a beautiful thing. Not everybody has access to as many parts of themselves as you do. You're the leader. You're in the lead. Even if it feels like you're behind, you're leading. So I think that's just asking you to close the very open windows to your soul. Maybe I just sense that maybe you're watching some intuitive videos, and it's funny that I'm telling you to stop while intuiting this information. Is it funny? I don't know. People get on here and say everything, so that's what I'm saying to you today. You have what you need to move forward. I think this is not discouraging us from doing this reading or from being interested in readings in general, but I think, and maybe I'm getting too specific, maybe readings for you is like a hobby. I won't list too many examples, but just whatever your special interest is, whatever you're particularly fond of talking about and learning about. If it's tarot, if it's not tarot, there's just kind of, you've gathered enough information to not only move forward with that specific interest, but to move forward in every aspect of your life. But the Hermit is asking you to, like, find your own answers. Just find your own answers. I know that's a lot of pressure when it feels like you can't find them when you're feeling around in the dark, but it's also exciting to kind of seclude yourself into the unfolding of your own process. Does that make sense? Ace of Cups in reverse. Eight of Pentacles. I heard the bully was the dissociation. If you are someone who tends to check out when things get really intense, I'm not in disagreement with that tactic. Also, I am aware that it is an automatic response that happens in scary moments. So I think that something might have jump scared you and you thought that it was going to be kind of like an ongoing monster chasing you around. Why am I always getting these horror movie references during our time together? I watch a lot of them, so I'm a horror movie junkie, which means I'm an adrenaline junkie. Anyway, kind of the opposite of adrenaline is dissociation. The way that it feels, anyway. It's just kind of like you could be seeing some crazy shit and just not feel a thing. That's not, is this a worthy tangent? That's not the same as kind of like sociopathy or like basically a lack of empathy. It's different than that because it might be that you have so much empathy that you need to kind of like exit the theater before seeing another horrific thing on the screen, if that makes sense. Is any of this making sense? The enemy was dissociation all along, and if you are unaware of that word, go ahead and Google it if you want, but yeah, I don't feel like explaining it right now. But it's kind of just like a quick exit of your own body when things get to be too much, if I had to explain it simply. That was the bully, not your op. Okay? Okay. You're doing the work to understand this, though. You're doing the work to build the internal reserves to see where the monster in the room is really hiding. And there's no monster in the room, I promise. It's just a fear of circumstances that are too much for you to handle in that moment. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It means your capacity is full. And capacities can be filled up by just too much social interaction, not enough sleep. You know how your capacity gets filled up. But I think that's also why I am trying to redirect you to your special interests, the things that really appeal to you, because that's what really refills your cup in a positive way, and not in the depleting way where you're suddenly constricting and constricting your attention and energy because you're like, something is causing the problem, and I'm gonna find out what. I'm gonna take all these cards. We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the Two of Wands in reverse, the Queen of Wands in reverse. This feels like two people kind of like leaning over a table to plan something. Ten of Pentacles upright, Seven of Cups in reverse, and the Knight of Swords upright underneath. Let it die. Wow. I'm also getting that, this process has not felt as exciting as it has been for you, and that's alright. The dissociative aspect is probably to blame. Not that anyone is to blame, necessarily, because, I don't know, they're just not. Maybe these two people leaning over the table, we're going to find out about them. But the thing that I wanted to point out about the Ten of Pentacles showing up under the editing was the skill all along in reverse. You, learning how to pave road in order to just know, in the event that anyone asks you your opinion on the gravel road that you've been walking on. Does this make sense? If your desire is for someone who has the resources to pave the road that you've been walking on to walk up to you and say, how would you prefer this road to be? I know it's bumpy and gravelly, but what would you like it to be? You're like, well, since I've been thinking about paved roads nonstop as a great alternative to this road, and I did a tiny bit of research because roads are my secret special interest now, like, I think that you're just finding unexpected things very interesting to you. And the skill was griping. The skill that you developed was a product of griping. And, you know, you're trying to create a smooth surface. That's all I keep seeing for this is like, my ear's itching for confirmation. Yeah, your ability to smooth things over was unnecessarily developed, I'll say, but this uncanny and amazing ability that people now crave. And you're like, oh, I could actually support myself with the way that I educate myself. The way that you gather information, the way that you solve these puzzles, the way that you thirst for more knowledge and information is bringing huge manifestations towards you. It feels odd to say that. Why does it feel odd to say that? Because the energy feels so mundane right now. But it doesn't at the same time, because you're experiencing like this kind of glow and haze around everything in your environment because you're safe. Look around. Are you safe? Most of the time? Six of Swords in reverse. You don't feel safe because you can't really see the way forward. That's okay, and that's understandable. But your nightmares are quieting down. I don't know if you've ever had nightmares specifically, but maybe a nightmare can be like an anxiety rush in the middle of an afternoon where you're like, how am I gonna schedule that dentist appointment or whatever? You know, I just tried to think of the most stressful thing ever. I don't know. Speaking of horror movies, you know, what scares you? I think that could be interesting to think about in the context of nightmares. This Queen of Wands and Queen of Pentacles, I think, dominated your mind at one point, but now they don't, and now, like, they're tripping out. Okay? Let's see if I'm right there. King of Pentacles. It may not be you, it may be someone else that this situation is happening around. It's pulling for the Queen of Wands. Queen of Swords sideways. There are multiple people involved in this situation. Aw, Two of Cups. Aw. I think there's a lot of chaos around, you know, you and a friend or a work buddy or a partner, you know, whoever. With the King of Wands underneath with strength. There's a lot of fiery energy here. A lot of, like, sacral and solar plexus energy kind of, like, duking it out, I'm seeing. I just heard you really want to align your solar plexus. It's hanging out to the right. Your solar plexus is hanging out to the right, and you want to bring it back to center. You might have been feeling distracted lately, like it's hard to focus. Anyway, there are multiple people involved in this situation, and here is, you know, you and this other sort of counterpart energy weighing your options, I just heard, and stacking plans. It's relieving your subconscious to make plans, but it is very hard to see forward at the same time. It's okay. I just feel a need to, like, reassure you about that. It's okay. We can't see sometimes. I've been thinking a lot about, like, the deep sea, like the abyss in the sea, where it's just super dark down there, and there are bioluminescent creatures that are not resentful that there's not a sky to look at because all they've ever known is darkness, and they create their own light. That's so cheesy, but I'm standing behind it and in front of it. Okay. Lots of people involved here. I don't know, why did I bring up the deep sea? I'm gonna pull a card. What is this metaphor I just got? The Three of Cups in reverse. I think that there is some intention in the people involved in your situation that would will to keep you in the dark about it. This is a forced abyss, unfortunately. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't rush it, first of all. Don't rush this. This is a very earthly matter. This is trudging day in and day out. This is to do with the mundane, the mud of the mundane. But that you're moving faster than everybody else. You're in the lead. And somebody who thought they were in the lead or was leading the pack from behind does not like this and wants to remind you of some old ghost, some old situation that has 2:22 on the timer, some old situation that would haunt you in the past had you not been so far ahead actually this whole time. But you're able to navigate in the dark, you're able to create your own light. And while you're in this upside down world of darkness, psychically, you're just swimming. I see you just swimming. Ace of Swords. Five of Swords. Woo. You're freaking me out, dude. Dude, I think you're gonna take this Queen of Swords' sword. You're gonna pluck it straight out of their hand. Okay. This is what I'm getting. You're basically finding out that certain people are speaking of you or on you or about people that you care about in ways that you don't approve of. And your subconscious is opening up to who you are and what you bring to the table. And you're no longer afraid of defending yourself. This is nothing that worries you now. You're like, oh, I've actually got a bunch of swords back home. So the fact that you're waving one in my face right now, I could just take it right out of your hands. Because I practice with this thing. I have 9 of them. But, you know, there's just this one sword here that is kind of acting more superior than the rest or something. I don't know, there's just somebody who's being a little arrogant and haughty. And I think that it's gonna give you that sword because, I don't know, it's just gonna be smacked out of their hand for some reason, perhaps by this Queen of Wands in reverse. That's a very scary energy of, like, kind of a perpetual temper tantrum. That's somebody who's slamming their post on the ground and staking their claim, and it's like, you need to relax, you need to calm down, is what I heard. Five of Swords. Ace of Swords. You have so many more swords than you know, and I think you're starting to believe it. I think this belief is coming into view, and you're beginning to understand your role in this, which is to take heavy words and make them lighter by your puzzle solving. Whatever your background process is in your mind that's constantly going, that makes you who you are, basically, this, however your thoughts look and feel, is very, I'm hearing, coveted and sought after, and I think that you're realizing that. And this is giving you defenses that you've never had before, even in this total darkness. You're traversing and exploring. Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck, with the Hanged Man in reverse and the Page of Pentacles right here. I just heard your dissociation saved your lives. I think it's just many times it has come in to save you, so don't worry about how gross it feels. Whatever you needed to step aside from, step out of, step away from, even if it angered other people. And sorry, I'm having shoulder pain. Maybe you were just shouldering too much. It was just causing strain in your neck area that was unnecessary. So maybe you're being told to recall when this kind of detachment has benefited your development as a child. Maybe there were times where you're like, I'm gonna fall into a book and just fall into my imagination and fall into the TV show. You know, what were your coping mechanisms back then? How have you been bringing them with you in a sometimes overindulgent way? But we're not really hammering on that right now. We're looking at you. We see you. It's a weird way to say that. and I don't apologize for that. This King and Queen of Pentacles is very interesting. I think there's someone in your life who really understands your process of stepping out of your body, or just of your mind, or just of the room. There is something very earthly and body-oriented about these Pentacles cards showing up, especially when we're talking about how dissociation can aid a child in development in a place where they are otherwise a little freaked out. You know what I mean? Anything else from this deck? That was a weird little spin there. Someone's coming out of exhaustion around you that they've been in for a long time. We have kind of mirrored, twinned cards showing up here, but that's the Nine of Wands in reverse over the King of Pentacles, with the Hermit again at the bottom. You, someone in your life, both of you need to spend time alone. Alone. Just thinking about what you want to think about. I think that's going to refresh the energy. Sorry, I don't want to just tell you what to do either. Like, approach this however feels right, or don't approach it at all. But this Nine of Wands is in reverse is encouraging in the aspect of someone finding the feeling of relief and recovery after feeling very exhausted and beaten up for a long amount of time. Wounded Warrior card. We have the Star in reverse, the Knight of Wands in reverse, and the Seven of Swords. Again, that Seven of Swords really has something to say. Is there someone here who didn't want you to pave the road smooth? Like, I'm getting that there was just a lot of resistance to you smoothing things over. This energy is showing up very strongly. It's that kind of wacky Sagittarius energy I brought up in another reading. Possibly. There's also Aquarius energy here. Yeah, just a lot of fire. The Star in reverse has been heavy on the table. Got something over the Nine of Swords sideways. It's the Ace of Wands. I think you're having trouble balancing your hot and cold energies. Totally normal. Or I don't know. Normal for some of us. My temperature regulation is silly. Bad. Dysfunctional. Wow, there's just a lot of power and energy coming towards this King of Pentacles. Maybe these are two sides of your energy, and you know your future-facing masculine side is receiving some sort of like heat boost at this moment. It's like a hot gust of wind from the clearing of your subconscious from these nightmare rebounds. This rebound of like not staying in negative energy for longer than you need to. And here's the Five of Swords again. Being willing to defend or to fight when you need to defend or fight. And realizing where leadership is present and where leadership is not present in your circumstances. I heard in your family circumstances, perhaps. Not perhaps, it is what I heard. Page of Swords. Five of Cups in reverse. I'm going to start pulling from another deck. Page of Swords. I think you're choosing swords. I mean, the swords energy is very strong here. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of hot air. Someone blowing hot air around. Are you in a hot air balloon? In your head? Are you just like a brainstem hot air balloon floating in the sky? Sorry if that's like too gross. Sorry. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. This Knight of Swords over here is asking for like a really quick, swift movement. He's the one who's telling you to cut things off. Maybe you have somebody in your ear saying, cut it off, end it already. I don't know. Have people been pressuring you to end something? You feel like there are too many ways to end it. And that's why you're taking a step back into the Page of Swords and going, let me rethink this whole thing. What the hell is even going on? What are these? Okay, we've got the King of Pentacles in reverse and the Eight of Wands. You're like, things are moving too fast. It's too hot. I'm sweating. That's okay. I think that's why you're leaning towards Swords energy, because it's cooling down the situation. You just want a little relief. I think it's going to balance itself out. Especially with all the Earth energy present, you're just trying to ground yourself in the situation here. 10 of Cups, and then the Ace of Wands in reverse. Some part of you or someone around you believes that just kind of saying no to everybody and only looking after your own happiness is what's important. That's kind of interesting. I think you're more social than that. I feel like I'm not making any sense, am I? Anyway. Let's investigate this Page of Swords and this 10 of Cups. I think the 7 of Pentacles wanted to come out in reverse, but the 7 of Cups actually came out upright. This feels like a realignment of your priorities, of your to-dos, of your goals. Realignment of those things. Page of Wands in reverse. This isn't your first rodeo. This isn't your first trip around the block. You know that going in the Wands direction leads to getting burned. These metaphors are becoming obnoxious, I'm sorry. The Star upright. Alright, that's a little encouraging for the metaphors. 6 of Wands in reverse. You may have a hobby or an interest or some way of doing things that pisses people off, but it works for you. I think, what do I think? I think it feels really unsure and really upside down at the moment, and there's a lot of cards on the table. I'm just taking everything literally. But we're meant to be seeing this. We are meant to know what is going on with everyone around you right now. Okay? And we're meant to know why it feels lighter in your brain. Why, maybe the hot air balloon feeling is just this kind of floaty, ethereal moment you're having. No one ever said that was a bad thing. Some people might not like it, but if you like the way that you feel, keep it up. Do you like the way that you feel? I think you do. I heard hell yeah, the Emperor. I think you're just feeling a bit of confusion from the goodness that you're experiencing and understanding for what might be the very first time. Just because of how diluted the intuition of the greater collective has felt overall. It is clearing up. There's a situation happening where people are coming to life. Their realizations are coming to light. They're becoming awake. They're waking up. You like waking up. Justice. Libra energy. Balanced air. Tepid air. Workable air. Hot air is good in certain situations, but does this one work? I don't know. Anyway, getting the Emperor and Justice one after another is pretty fun and kind of crazy. Your hard work and patience are paying off. Your longevity is paying off. Your staying power is paying off. Something is paying off, and you're happy about it. And you're kind of sad that it's not the beginning of it anymore. That's what I'm sensing. Let's keep going. This light's still on. It's amazing. Watch me lose it right after saying that. Coffee. I just started drinking coffee consistently for the first time ever in my life. Like a couple weeks ago. Maybe a week, I don't know. Recently. Very recently. So, it's been nice. Sometimes I get jittery though, obviously. I'm adjusting to drinking coffee. Did you need to know that? Yes. I like explaining myself a lot. For better or worse. 2 of Wands in reverse. I'm gonna put like 4 cards of this. I think. Ace of Pentacles, upright. Seven of Wands. Got 2 cards. 2 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles in reverse. The Devil in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Perhaps a regression of sorts in the body. Maybe you're like me and you're trying out something new and you're seeing the negative reactions that are happening, but you're also seeing the positive ones. So it's like, it's creating more balance than havoc to be trying out what you're trying out. But there is... Well, interesting. This card describes it very differently than I normally understand it, and that's why I like to keep cards with the definitions on them around. I mean, I prefer to have larger images, but realistically this is reminding me that this is a positive card, reversed. Shedding the old, letting go of people, possessions, or issues, generosity. It's like you're gassing yourself up to be able to give more, and it's creating balance in your field. And interestingly enough, hang on. Interestingly enough, they're kind of making the same gesture with this diagonal motion. Your defenses are rising because your balance is steadying, and your motions are becoming more smooth. You're smoothing the road, whether or not other people wanted to let you, it's happening. You're letting go of the gravel and the dirt. And this landing next to the star is so gorgeous. Bam, bam. Look at all this ethereal, airy wonderfulness. Look at it. On one hand, you're balancing water and pouring into spirit and the self and your private investigations and your private time, and in the other hand, you are giving to others what you are learning by studying yourself. It's this nice ebb and flow. Very good. This 2 of Wands reversed with the High Priestess, I think, is speaking of cutting off a source of information that you used to tap into. That is what is making it feel blind and dark right now. I think we found it. So you used to maybe, I don't know, these examples can get so silly. There's kind of an addictive energy here that it looks like someone around was blaming you for. It happens to everyone, it's very human. You were kind of addicted to not knowing what choice to make, or not knowing how to make a choice. It's okay. It's okay. This is all in the past. But right now, we're seeing that what you used to get you out of that confusion no longer applies, so you've removed yourself from it. And that's why it's feeling like you're tumbling. But you're on track. Even if it's in the dark, the shadow aspects of ourselves are just as important as the illuminated ones. The moon energy is just as important as the sun energy, and our dreams are as important as our living experiences. It's important not to get too lost in dreams, of course, but to acknowledge that they're important, or just, you know, the negative space activity in your brain, basically, when it's left to its own devices to run its own program. What do you see? You're learning to pay attention to your thoughts instead of something external, and I commend you for that. This card, this card just like wanted to come out. It like stuck to the table when I picked up the deck. How gorgeous. Holy shit. Sorry, not sorry that I curse. I've always done it, even as a young one. No one could stop me. I'm not trying to encourage anyone trying to stop me. I whatever. The star. Let's focus. The star. The star, the star, the star. You have two of them. You have twin stars. That's so cool. I'm happy for you. You feel good. I mean, you feel good about what you're doing, about what you're choosing. It may be confusing, but your generosity is giving to others, is what I'm hearing. Ten of Pentacles upright, swooshed across the table. Party on. Three of Swords. Ugh. Ten of Swords. Sideways. Over that Queen of Swords earlier, facing the same direction. Wheel of Fortune. I just heard something gnarly. The Sun. Okay. This is not literal. Maybe. But what I heard is someone is looking to meet their grisly end. With the Wheel of Fortune over it, between the two stars. I see this as something playful, but my right side hurts. I don't know, I see this as a possible betrayal to where... Think of in a movie where, you know, a friend turns on the one that is the main character, or just whoever we're attached to at the moment. And it's not that you see something bad happen to them, it's just that in that moment you're like, ooh, that was not a good choice. You know what I mean? When you just know that something has gone wrong with how easy it is to resolve it in your mind. It's like whatever happens next to this person is justified. And then it's usually something that's not a big deal, but it reminds us of how much we care for the character usually. And then if they get murdered off later, it's such a horrible surprise because we had that redemptive moment with them. That's what's coming across for me. It's the Wheel of Fortune spinning between two stars. This is a crazy, with the Three of Swords hovering above it and the Ten of Swords sideways below, covering the Ten of Cups. Wow. Yeah, vengeance is coming down on the situation, but I don't think it's coming for you, but you don't want to stay in place and watch it happen. This is a grisly reading. What is happening? Anyway, let's not let my intrusive thoughts drive too much of it. Justice the other way. It's hard to feel good when guillotines are dropping, alright? We're not supposed to read about that, so this little spicy deck is going to go back over here. I'm hearing there's nothing else. I think we got what we needed. Just kind of keep your head above water. Don't dive too much into other people's painful, intrusive thoughts. Or otherwise, you know, the things that they're projecting out. Just know you have two upright stars and the Wheel of Fortune on the table. Yes, some betrayal is looming. It happens. It happens. Just know that it's going to pass and that you at least had this warning ahead of time to let you know. And I think that's why these messages come through, to warn us about things that would otherwise be much more damaging if we didn't hear the information to protect us. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you're tuning in for reasons that feel good to you. I hope the message helps you understand something about yourself. And 3 stars on the table is a good time. So keep it up. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. I'm just going to say that a lot because I think you're doing great. Just watch out for this betrayal. When you pick up someone's sword, you might find 3 more coming your way. So it's the rule of 3, I guess. With the 6 in reverse, it's releasing the rule of more than 3. Whatever you send out can only come back as 3. But if you're sending out good star energy, you'll get 3 stars like we see here. One of them is reversed though. Just keep an eye on the swords around you. And yeah, I think that's it.